Hey everybody, welcome to my call tonight. I am so excited because I have a best-selling author on my broadcast tonight, and he has written lots of books, several best-selling books, but his most recent one pertains to the topic I've been talking about for the last few weeks, and that is the CBD oil. So there's a huge boom in the health and wellness industry right now, especially with CBD oil. And my company, Vasayo, just recently came out with the top product on the market, and it really has everything that no other product has in terms of it being US patented with the liposome delivery that allows for maximum absorption. 98% of other products out there, companies, they do not have that delivery system. It also is it's 0.00% THC. It is organic, it is non-GMO, it is from plant to package grown in the United States. And the hemp has been selectively bred here in the US so that there is absolutely no THC. So who I'm bringing on tonight is a man. His name is Andy Falco-Jimenez, and he recently joined Vasayo. And Andy was previously with Hempworks, and when he saw both the opportunity with Vasayo and the product here with the CBD, he jumped and he came over because he wanted to align himself with the best. So with that, I'm going to bring on Andy, and hopefully he can give us a great background with all of his experience with CBD, how it's helped him, and why Vasayo. So with that, I'm going to bring on Andy now. Hi, how are you?
Outstanding. How are you?
Good. Thank
Very
you
good.
so much for being on tonight.
No problem.
So my first question is, how did you said you had a personal experience with CBD oil and it helped you. So I want you to talk a little bit about that first.
All right. Well, my history goes, back to, of course, sports. I played football. I was a pole vaulter in high school and college. Those don't always go well. Sometimes you crash and burn and get hurt. But as a kid, you don't really realize what the toll will be later on. But I found out later. I then went on to play ice hockey on a police and fire team because I was a police officer and that kind of stuff. And, when fire and police play each other in hockey, it's not always fun. we don't particularly get along. So whether I was in Austria playing hockey or Canada, it was all the same. We would hit each other as hard as we possibly could, dislocated shoulders, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then as a police officer for 21 years with the city of Anaheim, I was a police dog trainer and a handler. And that's where if you're the decoy or play the bad guy in the scenarios, you wear the bite equipment and the sleeves where the dogs come and hit you and bite. And when a 110-pound German Shepherd or a 115-pound Belgian Malinois that's running at about 15 to 20 miles an hour hits you, it hurts and it does things to your body. And so 30 years of that on a regular basis, I was very active. I was training dogs all over the world. I had accounts in the Middle East down to Argentina, Ireland, and across the United States and Canada. And so, needless to say, I'm only telling you that not to tell you, how fantastic my life is or anything like that. It's just telling you that I have beat on my body so much that I was in pain. About a year and a half ago. I had been in pain for a long period of time, but ignored it, tried not to show pain because as police officers and men, we don't do that kind of thing. In addition to that, I had been, involved in a few things in law enforcement that not a lot of people want to see and participate in, but that's kind of our job. And those kind of things kind of wear on you a little bit. I was a sex crimes detective dealing with rapists and child molesters. And then, of course, in patrol, you're getting shootings and chases and all that kind of stuff. And so after retiring from the police department, I had some anxiety and depression, PTSD, things that were pretty painful to the extent that I would take myself to the emergency room because I thought I was dying. Not telling anybody. I did it secretly because, again, I never told anybody. If somebody saw me, I had a smile on my face. So nobody would ever have thought that was happening in my life. So about a year ago, I was at that place in my life where I was thinking, well, I'm just going to have to manage this, I guess. And healthcare is going to give me pills. to manage, my high blood pressure, my anxiety. I was pre-diabetic. I had pain and discomfort that was just killing me. Had a whole bunch of stuff that I thought was just going to be how I was for the rest of my life, right? And I had succumbed to that belief that healthcare was just simply going to take care of me. I knew about wellness because I also am a marketer and I help people write best-selling books. And, I had authored or helped people author books in relationship to wellness. But I thought, most of them were kind of crazy and thought, how can I be in charge of my wellness? I'm not a doctor. I don't know what I'm doing. Well, people were telling me about CBD oil, and I ignored it because as a law enforcement officer, I thought, like many people do, that it was illegal, it was a Schedule I narcotic. And so I pushed it away saying, number one, I can't do it. And how can it be possible that could help me with so many things? So to make a long story short, I had a couple biopsies done. I nearly died because I had internal bleeding from the procedure. The same doctor made the same mistake twice. and so I thought, you know what, I got to figure this out because healthcare, which I was relying on, seemed to not be right all the time and wasn't doing a good job. And I said, well, let's look at some of these wellness people and see what they're talking about. Maybe there is something there. And so I started taking CBD oil with the encouragement of a man by the name of Matthew Adams. He introduced me to Hempworks CBD oil. I started taking it, and immediately I started to see improvement, and things began to change. I have to say always that the FDA has not approved anything I'm saying. I cannot tell you that it's cured me. I can only tell you that coincidentally, at the moment I started taking CBD oil, my blood pressure improved. I began to sleep way better than the 3 hours I was usually getting. I was now getting 6 to 8 hours sleep. The pain and discomfort in my shoulder, my neck, and my back was improving. And I was no longer pre-diabetic. And as of today, I'm no longer taking any pharmaceuticals. I don't take Tylenol or Advil. And I haven't had a cold or the flu since I started taking CBD oil. What a coincidence. But
amazing.
And that's my story. And so I owe a lot to Hempworks because the oil that I was taking worked for me to a certain extent. It was improving on at least I believed it was improving on my situation. And so that's how I got started. I'm sure we'll get into a story as to the reason why I left. But as far as CBD oil, as far as CBD, as I began to research and learn more about it, I came to realize that it is real. It is fantastic. It is something that we been starving our bodies of for several years in our country and other countries. And it's missing in our diet. And without it, it's hard to stay balanced in all of our systems. So I hope I answered your question. So that's how that's the reason why, and that's how it's affected me and been a benefit to my life.
That's amazing. I love that story. I have so many people in my life who have pain, and I've been giving them CBD and telling them about it, but there is still that stigma, and even though I tell them that ours has 0.00% THC, they still they don't understand the science. And I've been educating them because my background is in science, and I would never, get involved in something that wasn't legitimate anyway. But you wrote an entire book about this. So did you write the book based on your experience, or did you write the book more to kind of clarify the science, or both?
Yes.
Because that's a best-selling book too.
Yep. International bestseller, by the way. And there's more to that story, which we'll definitely talk about either today or another time. It's pretty important if we're talking to business owners. Writing a book is extremely important to position yourself as an authority. And I've learned that. So it's my 9th book. So I've written books on dog training to increase my authority in the dog training space. I've written books on doing Facebook Live. I can't hear you. Here you are.
Yeah.
That's because I changed screens to see if there was any comments on Facebook. I've only done this maybe 1,000 times. Okay. So, and I was just telling you, I wrote a book on doing Facebook Lives 2 years ago. So that's important. And the reason I wrote this book was probably more to educate people than even any of my other books, because there's so many frequently asked questions that are the same. Is it legal? Am I going to get high? Is it going to make me get the munchies? How does this thing work on so many different things, right? And so I wanted to write a book where I answered the most frequently asked questions. And I also wanted people to understand that we all have an endocannabinoid system. So there's a couple chapters a simple chapter on the endocannabinoid system, and then one that's a little bit more in depth and in detail. So for those people that don't want to know all the details, because there are people out that like that, they just want to know a little bit about it, there's a chapter for that. And then another chapter for people that are more like you, probably more in the science and want to know more about it. I put in there the history of hemp, and so people could actually know that we've had hemp and CBD and actually medical marijuana in our lives before the prohibition, 50, 60 years ago. And we had medications that we were taking here in the United States. We had millions of prescriptions being written that had cannabis in them. And on the $10 bill in 1914, the hemp is on the back of the $10 bill. And so we have a long history where hemp has been a mandatory crop here in the United States. It was illegal not to grow hemp back in the 1700s. And then the Chinese were using it. And so it was a big part of our life. It's because of just a bunch of misinformed people here in the United States that they decided to put it on the Schedule 1 narcotic. So the book, I wanted to make sure that it's called Today's CBD Oil, because I wanted to let you know that today we are not reinventing, but rediscovering the power of something that we knew long ago was fantastic and powerful. And so we've kind of introduce the world to CBD and hemp and cannabis so that people can understand it and know that this isn't just like a new thing. Many people think it is, and it's not. It's been around for a very long time.
So with that, I wanted to ask you then, you said you had such amazing results with Hempworks. Then why Vasayo?
Yeah, that's a tough move, especially since I was a champion of theirs and speaking about the product as if it was the end all be all. And that I was a little misinformed, much like before I started taking CBD, I was misinformed. And through education, which I encourage everybody to continue their education so that they can know more. You can never know enough. You always need to I listen to podcasts on wellness. I listen to podcasts on cannabis. Does everybody speak the truth? Not necessarily, but you need to hear it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so that's what I continue to do. And I was under the belief that a pure hemp oil, a pure CBD is the best way to go based on what I was hearing from everyone at Hempworks. As I continued to do my research, because I never stopped, I began to hear, well, CBD, like a whole bunch of other things, are not necessarily bioavailable to the extent that we absorb them efficiently. And I began to hear that, you could take 1,000 milligrams of CBD and probably less than 10% is actually getting into your system. And so I was going, wow, that's interesting. So it probably doesn't matter whether I'm taking Hempworks 750 or Hempworks 500. If my body's not absorbing it efficiently, what good is it? So I then began to look, is there a way to get it into our system more effectively? Then I began to hear about the liposome technology, about other drugs. And when I finally got contacted by Vinny Pizzo, who is in Vasayo, he's my upline, who suggested that I look into Vasayo a little bit more closely. I learned that they have liposome technology in the delivery of their CBD oil. And when I was talking to them, it hadn't come out yet. It was still pre-launch. And I go, wow, I need to really look into this. So I contacted a couple scientists, a couple doctors that I had met during my training, my self-training in this industry. And they said, yeah, really the only way to get it into your system is through some type of vehicle like liposome. And liposome has been used for other things, and it's very effective. And then, here's Vasayo, bringing out their patented version of their liposome technology. And I was going, well, that alone is probably enough for me to leave, but I still needed more because, again, I had invested so much time and effort into Hempworks because of how it affected me. And again, it's a good product. It worked for me, but it wasn't working for everybody. I had people that were saying, I'm taking it and nothing's happening. I'm not feeling any difference in anything. And so I also learned that there's some people that didn't even absorb the 10%. They may not be absorbing anything. And so it was through that study, through that time and period, and learning that, if I'm going to be claiming that I'm an authority through, having a best-selling book, if people are going to be interviewing me on television or I'm going to be speaking on stage, I really got to walk the walk and make sure that I'm on the front edge of this industry. And if there's something better, I need to be there. And I can't be saying ours is a great if in fact it's not the greatest. And so that was just one of the reasons why I decided to switch over to Vasayo. The product simply works. It's better. The science supports all the information and everything that we know about it, based on not only Tracy Gibbs, who is the scientist who put the formulation together, but other scientists. I've talked to other scientists that are completely unrelated to Vasayo that say, yeah, that is the best way to get into your system. And what they're doing is probably going to be the best for a long period of time. Nobody's going to be able to beat it because it's patented.
Right, exactly. Well, and have you personally noticed a difference since taking the Vasayo CBD? I know you've only been with us maybe a week or two, but have you personally noticed a difference between that and the previous?
Yeah, I got a bottle before I changed over because, again, I want to make sure that I have done everything that I can to make sure that I'm not changing just to be in another product that's the same. Why would I do that? Right. And so, so I was doing well before. Now I'm great. So it just take a little bit more. I mean, because the improvement on my pain allowed me to work out again with Hempworks, but I still had some discomfort. It was still lingering there. Once I switched over, I'm literally pain-free right now. I constantly am testing myself. I have dumbbells over here that I could lift 30, 40, 50 pounds over my head in a shoulder press, where before I don't have anything big enough here, but like a bottle of this, if I tried to do this, I would get that. Oh my God, that hurts. Like just something as light as this, it's such a significant difference. And again, I want to make sure, because I'm talking about something that seems to be healed. I'm not saying that CBD healed me, FDA. I'm saying that since I've been taking it for whatever reason, I can now lift 50-pound dumbbells over my head. I can play with my kids. My kids could come on camera, all of them, as testimonials that, wow, now dad is way more active with us. I pick them up and throw them now, and I catch them. I just don't throw them. I pick them up and throw them. I can go out there and play hockey if I want to. I could climb a tree with them if I want to. And I couldn't do that a year ago. Absolutely could not do that a year ago. So, it may be a coincidence that since I've been taking CBD, these changes have occurred. And just one more thing, I know I ramble on, but one of those time period, I've been training dogs for 30 years. And so there was a part of me that thought maybe this is a placebo effect, right? Maybe this is just simply my mind, telling me that, and I really didn't care. Like I go, okay, fine. If it is a placebo effect, I'll just continue taking it. And the effect is I feel great. But then I gave it to dogs that were having the same kind of issues that I was having, discomfort when they walked and it hurt. You could tell that it hurt because the dog had trouble going up and down stairs or walking on slick floors. Dogs with anxiety, dogs with skin problems, dogs that were having seizures. And you give them the CBD oil and miraculously, it seems to stop all of those things with a dog too. A dog does not know, oh, you're giving me CBD, so I'm going to, I may feel better. No, the dog doesn't know that we put CBD in his food or in his mouth. The dog has no idea. Seizures, I could see actively dogs that are actively in a seizure, given CBD oil, suddenly stop. And I'm going, this is amazing. So back to your question. So Hempworks was really good. Vasayo simply is better. The thing I like to compare it to is if I may have been driving a Toyota before. The Toyota got me where I needed to go. It's a well-built car. It lasts and it seemed to work for most people. But now with CBD1, which is this product right here, CBD1, I'm now driving a Tesla at the same price. At the very same price, not even more expensive, right?
Wow.
I'm able to have a more efficient vehicle that gets me to that place I need to be in a more efficient way. And it just seems to work better. That's the difference. So from Toyota to Tesla for the same price, why not drive the Tesla? Exactly. I don't have to go to the gas station. So
exactly. And you're a business entrepreneur, businessman, and you can recognize a good business model as well. And with Vasayo over here, you and I were talking about it, the customer service, all of that is amazing, compared to both of you and I did come from previous companies where not that it was bad, but it's just typical in terms of, you just, maybe you were on hold forever and then maybe you got your product, maybe you didn't, or whatever. And, but since I've been here over a year now, and not one complaint about anything with customer service. And myself, anytime I call, you get someone right on the phone who is fixing the problem. They automatically fix the problem. And I thought that was amazing. But the main thing that really brought me over to Vasayo was our team, Overcome Nation, and Rick Gutman. Rick Gutman is our sponsor, he's Vinny Pizzo, your sponsor, and he's my direct sponsor. But Rick, he has this business school that he leads with us. And he teaches us financial education. And that was so attractive to me because in network marketing, it is, it's a multiple $billion industry. And you would think that there would be some kind of education for people to do well in it. And there really isn't, on how to really build a big business and be an entrepreneur and be successful in MLM. And when Rick, our retention is so high with our team, it ranges from 70 to 94% weekly. And that's because he teaches us 3 nights a week live in a private Facebook group how to do this the right way. And when you have the best products and the #1 company and great service combined with a business school with financial education to teach you how to do it correctly, you can't help but win if you engage in it. And so what did you see in terms of that as a businessman?
Well, I'm just going to go back to the support aspect of it, because I was fielding more complaints about the corporate office than actually having the ability to talk to people to get into the business. I was daily, I was getting complaints about, I'm calling and nobody's answering, or I'm on hold for hours and nobody ever picks up and it ends up hanging up on me. I'm not getting product. I had a guy, buying $10,000 worth of product of CBD, and he goes, I can't get a hold of anybody. I go, you would think a guy that's buying $10,000 worth of product on a monthly basis could get a hold of somebody. No matter what business owner you are, you go, hey, I got some high quality guys. I want to make sure they're always taken care of. That's just the way business is, right? You have concierge just for those people. And yet he couldn't get a hold of anybody. And so it became very frustrating. And I think that was my first, that was probably one of the first things that kind of caused me to start looking at other businesses and companies. I think, well, maybe this is just, and there was a part of me, because I've never been a network marketer, I'm thinking maybe it's just the industry. Network marketing is just this way, that they're all about signing up people, but not taking care of them. And so I didn't want to believe that, because I wanted the message to get out that people need to try CBD. I didn't want the corporate struggles to affect people in the way that they weren't going to try the product. Right. Because if it was the best, if your corporate structure is not good, nobody will ever try it. You can have the best meals in a restaurant, that taste great. And if your service stinks, sorry, I have little kids and I try not to say stuff like that. And so if it stinks, nobody's going to go into your restaurant, not for very long. You'll have your, soft opening and then your opening. And then all of a sudden now your, customer base starts to dwindle. So that was huge. I come to Vasayo, and I just told you, I just called him a second ago and answered the phone. And I almost like, what? Wait a minute.
I know. They're amazing. You're not on hold. They fix the problem right away. And it's great.
It was fantastic. And the guy was nice. And it wasn't like I was putting him off or anything.
Yeah.
And so there's that. And then you come into a family that we are in Overcome Nation, like no other. It's like nothing else. I don't even know. My upline, the gentleman, like Matthew Adams, who got me into Hempworks, fantastic. He was there. He understood it, but it was just he and I. It seemed like he and I against everybody else. It was really very odd. It was almost like you're competing against the people in the upline. Like, I'm not trying to compete with you. I don't know what you're trying to say. I would say, hey, I have some training on how to do a Be Live. I have some training on how to do this. And they're going, well, it almost felt like, well, if we engage with Andy, is he going to steal some of my people? Like, it was this weird thing. Like, I said, well, can I do an interview with you? You seem to be successful. Can I do an interview with you? No, because it'll confuse people and they'll start buying from you. I don't care. I don't care. They don't have to buy from me. I don't need them to buy from me. I want them to try CBD oil. I don't care. Coming into Overcome Nation, everybody works together. You and I are talking here on a Facebook Live, and that is it's amazing to me because of how different the other place was and the other group was. This is probably my 6th interview that I've done with somebody in the business of Vasayo, and we don't even think that way. It's about, hey, this is a great product. This is a great company. Whether you join with me or somebody else, it doesn't matter, because we're all in this to help people, both with the products and with the business.
Right.
And that feels great that, the business is so good. I don't mind talking about it. I felt a little guilty telling people to get into the business because I knew it was difficult. I gotta be honest with you. And
Right.
so I am so much happier to tell people, oh, you got to come here. If you don't sell a product, you're going to have fun.
Yeah.
You're going to have a good time, right? But it'll be impossible because the product is so good. If you just tell somebody about it, they try it, they're sold, and they'll start buying it. So again, I'm afraid I go on these tangents, but it is amazing. Rick has done a great job creating a culture of helpfulness between one another, regardless of where you're at in the structure. This is not a pyramid. This is like just a group of people looking out for each other, trying to help each other be successful. And that's how it feels. I don't feel any other way than that.
Yes.
Hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. That was amazing. Well, just for the last couple minutes, we have a couple questions here. My friend Sherry is a nurse practitioner, and she said, how can this impact patients in a primary care practice, and who regulates the quality and control of the products? So do you want to take that in terms of how you think that it can, and is it classified as alternative or a supplement? Well, I can answer that. It's a supplement.
Yeah.
So, but if you want to answer any of those.
Yeah. So like I said earlier, we have to be careful on what we can claim. It is possible it helps with these things, and it's pretty good stuff. So I've interviewed doctors. I speak to, strangely enough, as a dog trainer, police officer, I speak to medical doctors on stage at events and teach them about CBD oil because there's a lot of medical doctors that believe that I believed in the beginning is that it's illegal. It's a Schedule I narcotic. Even after the 2018 Farm Bill passing, they still don't know that they can, that people can have this. They don't, they can travel with it, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of education that needs to be done. I have a few doctors, one in St. Louis, Missouri. She refers patients to me, strangely enough, and I find that very odd, but they come to me for advice on CBD oil and dosages and products and that kind of stuff. And so she understands. So she's seen great results. She's in the pain management aspect of the medical field. And I did an interview with her. Her name is Kaylee Botwell, Dr. Kaylee Botwell. And if you go to today's CBD Oil Facebook page and scroll down, you'll find her interview. I'll try to post that up so it's higher to the top because I keep talking about it. It's worth watching if you are interested to see how doctors respond. A doctor that knows. And there's pictures of healing that she's placed the CBD oil directly on some amputations, and 3 weeks it heals completely.
Wow!
And she has great testimony. The guy who was the person who was found that it was successful or helpful in his healing, better way to say it. He'll talk to anybody, and so there's that. There's a doctor close by. I don't want to say his name because. Same thing. He had a choice. The lady just left my house. She was here a couple days ago. And he said, hey, get a hold of this guy named Andy. I met him at an event where he was speaking on stage about CBD oil. I can either give you this opiate. These are her words to me, is what he said. She said, I can either give you these opiates or you can contact Andy and see if what he has will help you. Because I'd rather you do that than me prescribe opiates to you. That's a medical trained doctor, a Harvard medically trained doctor. Essentially, I don't want to say that either because that may get us in trouble. He just sent somebody to me. And here they were in my house at the kitchen table, and I gave them one of my books and talked about it, explained to them, all the things that need to be explaining. And so far, she has good results, and she hasn't had to go to the opiates, which for me, as a police officer, for what I've seen that opiates do to people and how they ruin lives and take people's lives, if they can try CBD and if it seems to do well, it may be a way of not having to be on opiates. Hopefully, it's possible.
Yes. Well, and I want to also say that our scientist, Tracy Gibbs, he is amazing, and he's been a formulator for years and years, and he's done a lot of supplements and the delivery technologies for things that you see in Costco. And, he's been kind of a trademark in the field, and he is so readily available to all of us brand partners and customers. You can email him and he'll email you right back with an answer about any of the supplements that we have and the delivery, whether or not something is safe, not safe, whatever. All of our supplements are all natural, organic, non-GMO, and with this, especially, the formulation of this with that 0.00%, because the hemp has been selectively bred, that's amazing. And that US patent on that delivery technology, like you said, sets us apart completely. So, well, thank you. So, go ahead.
I just wanted to follow up with Tracy really fast with what you were saying, because this is another thing that was so unusual. I tried to reach out to, again, I had been speaking on stage to doctors. I was, being noticed for my book and that kind of stuff. And I reached out to the leadership over at the other company. I've said their name enough. And with like crickets. Like, I'm not saying that I'm this end all be all of anything. I would just say, I would like to at least talk to you about something, right? I have been able to talk to the leadership at Vasayo. And that was before they knew I wrote a book. I'm just an average guy to them. They don't know anything about me. And I was able to talk to Tracy on the phone. Tracy and I, hey, can I call Tracy? Yeah, call Tracy. I mean, this is the guy who created the formula and other things, other products that are at Vasayo. He had a hand in all these things. And it was so great. He was so nice, talked to me on the phone. I had a whole bunch of hard questions that I needed to ask to make sure that I was doing the right thing and changing. And then on a Facebook Live that Vinny and I did, somebody from the other company was on there, bad mouthing me and the product. And Tracy popped on and answered all of her questions. She wasn't happy with the answers because she was trying to speak, about the science. And he's going, really? Like, what science are you talking about? What you're talking about has nothing to do with based on science. Here's the science. And I don't know how many responses he had, but again, here's a guy who clearly is way busier than most people on the planet, as far as in this business structure. There's thousands of people within Vasayo, and there he is on one of my Facebook Lives, fielding, questions from somebody that, just was misinformed. And I cannot speak highly enough of Tracy for doing that. It was something else to see him. And Rick was on there and Vinny was on there. All of them were, not piling on. They were just really saying, no, we're trying to educate you. You're getting mad. And we're just trying to educate you on the science and what is real. And so, again, just another example that I didn't want to go away with you mentioning Tracy without saying he's been fantastic with me. He doesn't know who I am. I'm nobody really, but he came on and just answered the questions and talked to me on the phone. And I really do appreciate that and respect that, the company for making him available. And so I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So yes, Sherry, to answer your question, we have that availability of all of our scientists. There is a recommended dosage on our CBD oils. We also have a cream that that is coming out. It's out, but it's just shipping a little bit later after. Oh, there you go. There's the cream. Yep. And yes. So, but the thing is with the dosages, you're not going to have to take as much to feel the similar effect. And that's why, because of that liposome technology, you're going to, get more from what you're taking in, because it actually is getting to the cell from that bioavailability option. So
I take half of what I used to take.
Oh, wow. Great. For the same price. That's amazing. So probably less.
Yeah, it's less. I was paying $89 a bottle. Now I'm paying, what is it, $67 a bottle. I think it is 67 or something like that.
Yeah, so, you get 2 bottles in a pack. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for doing this, Andy. I really appreciate this. And I'm a little bit starstruck because I've written a couple books, but I need to get you to help me how to make them bestsellers.
Easier than you think. I can do it. I've replicated it 900 times. 900 people I've helped become bestselling authors. So.
Oh, okay. So I'll be talking to you after this.
Yeah, it's got to be easier else I can do
it. Well, have a great night. And if anyone has any questions, if you're in Andy's network, reach out to him. If you're in my network, reach out to me. Amazing testimonials with our products. And, our business school, it's just top notch. So definitely get in touch with us. All right. And have a wonderful night, Andy. And thank you again so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.